Good talk.
Hot talk. Bold talk. Talk radio.
Listen on your smart speaker.
Watch it live on your smart TV.
The world headquarters of common sense.
Talk radio.
In recent months, Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, who became Prime Minister, as far as I can see, for a couple of reasons. One was that his daddy was Prime Minister before him, and the other is that he's got nice hair. Other than that, he didn't seem to have much qualification for the role, but he got voted in a couple of times anyway. And he in the period of COVID, he has been one of the strictest world leaders. As countries like ours was coming out of the corona era, Justin Trudeau decided to double down on it. In particular, he decided to double down on insisting on vaccines for all sorts of people in all sorts of jobs, including jobs that there can be no justification, in my view, for insisting on vaccine mandates for. That included truck drivers. Now, during the pandemic, truck drivers were among the people celebrated in Canada as in Britain for helping keeping crucial supplies coming in and out of the country. But then the princeling Trudeau decided that all truck drivers, who are among the most isolated professions of all, should all be vaccinated or they'd be out of a job. And the truckers started to rebel. And they said that they didn't want this mandate and this insistence on vaccines. So in recent months, in recent weeks, they started to drive to Ottawa and protest about the mandates. Justin Trudeau did what you would expect him to do. He decided that all of the truckers were actually racists and misogynists. And I think they were anti-trans as well, in little Justin's view. He used all of the biggest insults he could against them. He particularly talked about the fact that the truckers who he'd never met were all racists, and we will just have to pass over for a moment the fact that anyone who follows Canadian politics will know that Justin Trudeau spent most of his recent adolescence in blackface. So let's ignore for the moment the fact that Mr. Blackface in Ottawa claims that everyone he doesn't like is a racist. But anyway, he did that. He then insisted on cracking down on a totally legal protest, a peaceful protest by Canadian truckers. It was an extraordinary overreach by him, and it has been, in my view, too much ignored by the other democracies. If this had been happening in Zimbabwe or anywhere else in the Commonwealth, Canada would have been chucked out of the Commonwealth, or at least suspended. The suspension of normal rights in Canada continued. Justin Trudeau instituted an emergency act which was meant to only occur in wartime, that if Canada was being invaded by anyone stupid enough to invade Canada, that he would use the Emergency Act. But it didn't require wartime. It required a peaceful protest by peaceful truckers and their supporters for Justin Trudeau to, first of all, flee Ottawa, first of all claiming, by the way, that he had first met someone who'd once danced with somebody who had COVID, so he had to isolate. That was his first excuse. And then he claimed that the truckers were a threat to his life, which also wasn't true. Anyhow, he instituted emergency legislation, basically abolished all human rights in Canada for a period, and most of the world didn't seem to care.
Good talk.
Hot talk. Bold talk. Talk radio.
Listen on your smart speaker.
Watch it live on your smart TV.
The world headquarters of common sense.
Talk radio.